is what's going on today. We figured out, I guess Sunday, and this is now Tuesday, that the hot tub was cold, and while it had power, there wasn't anything going on. So when we looked at the panel, or at the readout, it said SN3, and we know that's an error code. Unfortunately, this is about 10 and a half years old. We bought it brand new. It's a leisure bay, which they aren't in business in the US anymore. And so it's hard to find parts, or, you know, find stores that have anything as far as parts go. We looked up some stuff on the internet and got some ideas about what could be wrong. Anyway, looked up the error code. SN3 is a sensor issue. It's the heat sensor. Temperature sensor. And so we needed to find out, you know, was it coming unplugged? Had something been chewing on it? What's been going on? Another indicator that something was going on was one of our dogs has been really excited about this area right over here, and we don't know why, but she's just really excited. Every time she comes outside, she checks out this corner. And she's, you know, of course, a dog, so she's very aware when there's varmints or critters or whatever around. So, but she's always going over there. Of course, we're freaking out because we're thinking, okay, is it snakes? Is it, you know, some sort of a possum? But, you know, there's not a whole lot of room to get underneath this thing. I mean, this deck is not very tall at all, and really needs replacing. That's going to be another video, I suppose. Anyway, so after much ado and about, I don't know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes of messing around, trying to figure out how to get the panel off of this thing, and that's a whole nother issue, we got it off, slid it off, and followed that sensor line, that heat sensor line that actually is right back there. And we can see on the inside where that is. Anyway, followed that line, and it's pretty long line, and it goes up into this box, the pump system, and this is the line. And as it turns out, sure enough, something's been chewing on it and having a, can you see that? Yeah,
it's completely broken the wire.
Something's been chewing on there and got through the insulation and into the wire. So hopefully that's it. And we're going to try to, what are you going to do, splice it?
Well, I'm going to clean up the connections and then re-splice it together with some wire connectors, and then we're going to, I guess, test it. And if that's it, we're also going to investigate what the varmint is.
Yeah, so I brought the big light, and we're going to look under there. But nothing came running out when we opened the panel, so that's a good thing. Of course, maybe it's asleep. I don't know. Or it could be anything. It could be nothing now. Maybe it's already gone, but we'd sure like to know how it even got in there in the first place. But it's kind of nasty in there, and of course I want to vacuum it, but I don't know what difference that would make. Anyway, so we're going to do that, and then we'll check back in and figure out, let you know if that's what it was.
Yeah, basically what I'm doing is stripping this back far enough to make sure there's not any other bite marks. So I'm taking the insulation off of the inner wires and just checking to see if there's any exposed insulation on them. And like on this red one, it looks like something right here might have got a hold of it. So I'm actually going to trim it further back and get some good clean wires to splice together, because I seem to have a fair amount of extra wire. So that's what I'm doing now.
I wonder if they just do that on purpose, or they anticipate.
Maybe a little of both, or it may be that this temperature sensor is used for many different applications, and the wire may need to be longer in some cases to reach to different places on a hot tub or a spa or wherever they would install it. It just depends on where it is in proximity to this box and where it's actually installed in the unit.
Do it at the same time.
Well, what I did on the splice was basically, you want to cut the wire on one side shorter and the wire on the other side shorter, so when you put these together it lays down flat like this. And I'm not through crimping this one in the connector yet, but you see what I'm talking about? Instead of making them both the same length, then you'll have this kind of like this big bulge right there.
Okay, but
And
they'll touch, right?
what do you mean they'll touch?
I mean, they have to touch each other.
Well, yeah, they can touch each other,
Does that
I mean, they
red
didn't
thing
have to.
stuff inside
I mean,
of it that
ideally,
conducts it?
yeah, there's metal inside of here. These are just a insulation, and then right inside of here, there's a metal piece.
So if you don't push it in all the way, it's still going to get conducted. Like, if they don't touch each other inside that thing.
Yeah, because there's metal down inside of here. There's a little metal piece.
Okay.
And that's what you're putting the wire inside of, and then inside of there, that's what you're using this crimping tool for, is to crimp that metal insulation. And you can see how I've done this one in 4 places, twice on the metal and then twice out on the insulation.
Okay.
And that's what makes the connection.
How do you know where to crimp it? Does it say something on, what is that stuff on the outside of that?
I'm not sure what those codes actually mean. It's probably something
You just
to an
know
electrician.
To do it.
I just know to do it from doing it for years.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so the wire's all taken care of, and now we want to test, make sure before we put everything back together that that was really the problem. So the breaker box is around here. You got anything? Okay. Well, then I can do it.
Well, I'll let you come back over here and show it.
Okay. So there's the breaker box. And that is what takes care of this big guy. And by the way, I think that just about anything could get in the hole where the electrical, where the conduit goes in. And, you know, it could be something fairly small or fairly large, I think. So anyway, that could be where we're having problems right there. Anyway, so here's the breaker box.
Walking stick.
And where?
Side of the bottom
okay.
box there.
Nature. There's a walking stick trying to stay warm there, next to that outlet. That's really an animal, not just a stick. Yucky. Okay, so we're gonna. He wants me to walk back over here and look at the display so we can see what comes on. Oh my God, please work. By the way, it's about 30 degrees. Yep. Okay, something happened. I went to 0. It's on. Still on 0. Aha! That was it. That was it. It's before it was coming on, it was the whole 8888, everything that could possibly show up on there was showing up. Then it would go to 0, and then it would immediately go to that SN3 and just stay there. Actually, it went to 0, and then it goes to 100 degrees.
And then SN3.
And then SN3.
That's the air code.
And 100, yeah.
Temperature sensor.
Right.
Malfunction.
And so then, you know, 100 degrees is the default temperature for this. You know, we can manually turn it up and down, but if the power goes off or something happens, it always defaults back to 100 degrees, which is wonderful when it's about 30 degrees outside. Anyway, it's pretty cold today, and really windy, so we're worried because the temperature is supposed to dip down quite a bit in the next couple of days, and we certainly don't want to have to worry about something, you know, freezing as far as all these pipes go underneath this guy. So thank goodness that was it, and I'll take some more video and show you how to put these panels back on, because that was quite a feat in itself. So see, the temperature's already rising, it's circulating water, everything's working, and maybe by tonight we'll have 100-degree water that we can slip into. Okay, so it's all wrapped up. Now where are you going to put it?
I'm just going to bundle it back together. And maybe I'll use that tie wrap
Oh yeah,
that you found.
it didn't look like it was doing anything. I'm sure whatever it had been holding before.
No, it's broken. That's why they didn't use it.
Oh.
So, anyway.
And then you got all this stuff. Look at how much cordage is there.
I'll leave it right there for now. Yeah. I'd be surprised if they're not eating on something else. Well, I'm just saying. Look at it. But I think we should clean all this out, and then when you take me to Ojeda's for lunch, we can get some more of that spray foam and fill up the holes.
Okay. Okay, sure enough, this is the other side where the dog is excited and interested in. And took this panel off, and here's a nest. And oh my goodness, what a lovely nest they've got. Actually, I recognize some of that as stuffing out of a couple of toys that one of our dogs annihilated and probably left some pieces outside. So I see some of that, and I see a bunch of other stuff. But this is, there's a little hole right over here. So who knows, it may be in there right now. I can't see, and we haven't tried to take it out yet. Oh my gosh, and there I can see a cork. I use wine corks and put them on sticks and put them in my pot plants to mark them. It looks like they got a hold of one and brought it in here and chewed on it a little bit, so no telling what that was for. But anyway, I can imagine that area back there in the corner where the light's coming through is probably where they come in mostly. So anyway, so we got to extract this and get this area cleaned up, and hopefully nobody else will move in before winter sets in. Okay, so we, figured out about the nest and got that out of here. And oh my gosh, there were a bunch of poopy pellets. So I don't know how big it was or what it was. Maybe a mouse, maybe something bigger. I don't like to say the R-A-T word. Anyway, but the other thing is something that we didn't notice, and you can't see now because he's covered it up, but in the other corner over here, we realized that there was a completely big hole, and it looks like it was one of those that was made for, maybe the conduit was going to go in that hole, and then they decided to, put it in the other corner, but they had already cut this hole and they just left it, so that was open. So anything could have gotten in there, a squirrel or, I don't know, anything. Anyway, so now the husband has covered up on the inside. He put a piece of what looks like galvanized, like a sheet of metal. So anyway, he's doing that, and then he's going to put some, I guess some more spray foam insulation in and around there, and some of the other areas where there's just, quite a few little holes and areas where any kind of thing could get in. So anyway, that's what we're doing now. So what's really ridiculous is we thought, okay, so we've got the four corners. This is the corner where the drain is. So we hook up a little hose to that when we want to drain the hot tub. Then on the other side was the one that we found, just the random hole where we thought, okay, the guys who installed it must have, cut a hole there for the conduit. So we put that piece of metal over there. Then we thought, okay, we'll just look at everything, every corner. Of course, the other corner is the one that has the conduit coming out of it, so we're gonna seal up that hole a little bit better. But then we looked at this corner, the one we hadn't really looked at yet, and sure enough, there's a hole in it. So we're not really sure why. It looks like they were kind of hand cut, so it isn't like that piece comes cut that way. So maybe, I don't know why they would have done that. Okay, so now we are putting some extra foam around the areas where varmints could still get in, and making sure that we're closing up all those holes. Do that same corner. Just got through doing this corner, so it kind of looks like the old This is the old insulation that I put in when this was all installed. And this is what he just did. So it's not pretty, but he said it's fun. So I guess that's a good thing. Okay, so there's more to this than we thought. As we were sealing everything back up, put one panel on, we were putting that quarter panel on right there, and I could see somebody's tail sticking out from under there. And there's a big enough area that somebody could get in and out of there, but also just so whatever, and of course we do think it's a rat, was sitting up there in between the side panel and the fiberglass. So anyway, he took off, but he's still in there as far as we know. So we've just put this panel back on just somewhat, and we put a fogger, a home room fogger inside, and turned it on, and hopefully he's not going to like that and is going to come out of there, because otherwise we're sealing him up in there and then he doesn't have a way to get out maybe, and then he starts chewing the wires again. So who knows. So we're waiting to see how much of this he can stand, and it's a bug fogger, so I don't know, maybe rats, maybe it doesn't bother them, I don't know. Well, they eat crap, so certainly. But anyway, it is a poison, so we'll see. And then the husband is trying to irritate. I thought I heard something. Trying to irritate him a little bit further.
Thanks for watching. For other DIY projects, visit my YouTube channel, DIY Adventure.